There we go. We're back. Yeah, Canada cut the electricity already. Yeah. Scatter, she can see us. Yeah. I see everything, motherfuckers. God. There we go. God. Guys, I know that the volume's low. I know that the entire computer just shut off. Come on. Ugh. It fucks with all my settings, you know. Like, there's a reason why I'm sitting here not talking. It's because I'm fixing all the things. Yeah, we're in the middle of like a snowstorm here in Minnesota, so yeah, the power could go out again. If it does go out again, I'm just gonna end stream because it's likely it will keep doing that throughout the night. No, it should be safe to stream. It's just, you know, hair looks amazing today. Thank you, Sweet Myths. Yes, dastardly Canadians have weaponized their climate control systems to assault the United States, creating a pretext for war. Oh God. You're back. I'm back. I'm letting people trickle back in. Don't forget your candles, flashlights, and KFC. Well, we got candles, we got some flashlights. I should probably like make sure my phone is charged. Actually, it's only at 11%. Ugh. Let me go plug it in. I swear. Be right back. Oof. The War of Northern Aggression. Ugh, God. What are we prepping supplies and flashlights for? For because there's a snowstorm in Minnesota. It's not anything more sinister. You're getting snow in March? Yeah, it's not uncommon here. Right? Also, the people we were sitting next to earlier were uh, in the restaurant. were on a first date. I forgot to mention this to you. And the guy was talking about how he has an intense interest in research on climate over the past 20 years to see whether or not it's changing, whether or not there's global warming. It was not a good date. It was not going well for him. It's true. Those wontons are amazing. All right. You guys here? We here? You here? We back? Maybe his date gets hot for climate statistics. I don't know about that. He was not nailing that date. Or if he was, cis het women need to like up their standards. Huh? Yeah. We're all ready to shimp. We are so back. Maybe they met on a chemtrail dating site. Yeah, maybe it was a QAnon wedding. You know, who knows? Oh, that one American. Thank you for subscribing. Do you ever think Pam Bondi will ever? No, of course. Pam Bondi is not going to release the Epstein files. No. Are you kidding me? She literally works for Jeffrey Epstein's best friend. Like, of course not. If they even exist, the answer is of course not. Did she seem to believe what he was spewing? I don't know. She sat through the date, so I guess he was doing okay. I don't know. True. My partner tells me I should point out to everyone that the food was so good there that almost anyone would sit through a bad date to get to it. So, you know, fair, fair. Ooh, let's open the live chat on YouTube so I see everyone's comments. There we go. Yeah. Cishet woman, women, what are you doing? Why are people so upset with the Shrek trailer? You know, Polaire, it's really funny you ask that because it actually, oddly enough, allows us to segue into what I was trying to talk about before we rudely got interrupted by a power outage, which is that transphobes and transphobia in general is one of the biggest on ramps into the conspiracy singularity. You guys have heard me talk about this before, but this idea that conspiracies all kind of like circle the same gravitic center, gravity core, a singularity of conspiracism. And a really good example of that is transphobia and bigotry in general. But in the case of transphobia, it so permeates the conservative mind that a lot of people are transvestigating the new Shrek trailer. Um, and that's that's how cooked conservatives are in this country. They have fear-mongered about trans people so much and to the utmost degree that people genuinely are doing like skull shape analysis to determine whether or not Shrek is trans. And that's causing them to go even more nuts, if you can possibly believe that. And that's a more like lighthearted, I guess, manifestation of this the transphobia. I guess like, like the stakes are relatively low when it's a children's film, whereas the stakes are relatively high when we're talking about actual human beings. Now, one of the things I wanted to point out about this is that you've got George Takei over here going lies, lies, lies about Tommy Tuberville claiming girls' high school teams are made up of totally boys, and like lying, saying that Tommy Tuberville here is lying implies that Tommy Tuberville has like an agenda here, that he is, deliberately spreading falsehoods in order to achieve. And the more concerning aspect of this that too few people really contend with, and that I'm grateful that again Casey Explosion over on Blue Sky pointed out, it's not that he's lying. He and many others like him sincerely believe this. The thing people need to understand is that transphobic bigots like this believe in an alternate reality conjured entirely from conspiracy theories of secret satanic trans cabals running everything and won't be dissuaded. And this is, by the way, why anti empiricism is encouraged within fascist movements. It's because in the embrace of anti-empiricism is essentially just a feels over reals, a vibes over evidence type situation. And Tommy Tuberville is one of those people who is dumb, yes, but in that stupidity comes something dangerous, and that is fanatic belief, right? In the depths of stupidity you can find, once you have traveled its long and winding corridors, you can make it to the center of the labyrinth, where you find that in fact you can just believe something because you believe it. It's a thought, the ultimate thought terminating cliche. And what do I mean by that? How does this relate to trans people? How does this relate to like the conspiracy singularity? Well, by being dumb and embracing dumbness and a complete lack of critical thinking, you can be like, well, this is how the thought process goes for like trans people, right? Well, trans people are, obviously duplicitous for embracing a gender identity that they can't possibly have. So they're liars and deceitful. And why does one lie and deceive? Because they have bad intentions. What bad intentions could they have? Well, they want to be in public and be seen by people. And who's the most impressionable person in the public? Children. And like you can just like make these connections without any kind of factual basis. And you start, fear mongering through that, and by aligning all of these dots for others, other people start fear mongering along the same lines. It's a cycle, because people fundamentally on some level in the current era, are conditioned that trans people are kind of icky. That's kind of one of the things that our wider society has really been beating the drum of, and what ends up happening there what ends up happening there, folks, is that ultimately trans people are treated like you might treat a ghost. They can be anywhere. They can see anything. They can do anything. They have unknowable agendas. You know, how do you tell if someone is trans or not? Well, you have to like step outside the realm of norms in order to achieve more assuredness that someone is not trans. But that goal is unobtainable in its own way. You can never really know if somebody is truly trans or not. You can't like, okay, you figured out what their chromosomes are. Did you figure out all of their potential chromosomal conditions? Did you figure out their hormonal condition? Like, it is not a question that is answerable other than by deferring to another person's personal identification. And as a result, these people live in a perpetual state of paranoia, which also, for the record, feeds into the fascist mind, right? Because these people look around and they see women who, may check one or two boxes on their checklist of who could be trans. And in this case, girls who do sports. And they say, well, obviously, those girls are doing too well. So they're all trans. They're all secret boys. That's the kind of thing that stupidity allows you to do when you've reached the level of being a fanatic. That's the kind of world they live in. It's not that they are, well, it is that they are stupid, but it is not necessarily the case that they are lying about what they believe. Because that stupidity can absolutely lead them to those conclusions, as wrong as they may be. So it's very interesting to me. It's a whole topic that I think we need to dig into more often. Um, I do think we also need to acknowledge some of the other things going on, just a couple of the smaller ones, and how absolutely cooked our country is right
Like
now.
Donna ghosts?
Yo, Pluvius, thank you for the 4 tier 1 subs. I really, really appreciate that. And, I think I hear the Dona Ghost in like 5 to 10 minutes. Stay tuned. Um, but folks, the Trump administration is taking in a number of people. We talked about this a few days ago about how one of the guys who was brought in to gut USAID was previously working in USAID before in the previous Trump administration. And we learned that apparently he illegally met with um, members of like armed revolutionaries who want to restart the Serbian war. That's a thing. And you know it'd be one thing if it was just one guy who wanted to do that. But I think maybe we need to take a look at this Kingsley Wilson here, who in 2023 posted "Make Kosovo Serbia Again," which is, genuinely one of the most unhinged things you could possibly post. And maybe it wouldn't be that big of a deal if Kingsley Wilson wasn't someone, put into some kind of position of authority, like, say, joining the Department of Defense as deputy press secretary. This woman who wants to reignite the Serbian the like the the war I don't understand. I mean, I do understand. Our enemies are evil and varied, but like genuinely insane. So she is just a crazy person? Yes, she's a crazy person, but also she's a crazy person who aligns with other powerful people who are being put into office who are also crazy people. I just like I don't know, maybe we shouldn't be like seeking to redo the Bosnian genocide. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. Maybe we should be trying to do that. Not crazy, she's evil. I would say the two often go hand in hand, but not always. Yeah, don't do that. That's bad actually. Yeah. Mhm. Where do these people come from? They've been gestating in tubes for the last several decades waiting for their time in the sun, and they're getting it. And I don't think that they actually, you know, I don't think they actually want that time in the sun. I don't think that that is something these people genuinely want, despite, you know, uh how they keep presenting themselves in public. Um Now I will end with one last thing just for this little tangent. Our enemies are evil and just blatantly so. But I also really want to hammer home that they are stupid as well. You know, their vile stupidity allows them to embrace a level of fanaticism that lends itself towards genocidal malevolence. But not only that, it's a double edged sword, right? It's a double edged sword.
For the goats.
Sam and Moose, thank you for gifting Amber Brains a tier 3 sub. That is very, very generous of you. Um, that stupidity is also something that will ultimately makes this type of ideology difficult to maintain over a long period of time. And what I mean is, if you are doing an ongoing slow rolling fascist coup of America, one of the things you would want to do as an administration is to keep the loyalty of people in positions to potentially stop you from achieving your megalomaniacal goals, right? And well, one group that instantly springs to mind to me is the military. You would want to keep the loyalty of the military. How might you do this? Well, you might do it by increasing their pay, increasing their benefits, increasing the perks associated with being in the military. Generally do your best to do that. Um, and I'm gonna let you guys know that in addition to cutting the VA, in addition to everything else, um, the Trump administration is not doing that. you know, um, they're not doing that, and that is very good for all of us who love a free, America, because it means that they cannot fully consolidate power in the way that they wish they could. Which is good. It means that the window is still open for us to act and oppose them. They have not fully clamped down on all of the ways in which we can organize, right? And I want to play you guys a 38-second clip. And if you are in the military or you know people in the military, I really want you guys to send them this clip to let, or if you know veterans in general, okay? Send them this clip. This is the Donald Trump's personal lawyer, Alina Habba, who Donald Trump made counsel to the president, basically the biggest lawyer in all the lands who advises the president on all legal matters related to policy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? And this is what she had to say about veterans.
President starting to think about maybe some of those veterans who worked for the federal government and maybe what the administration can do to at least help salvage their lives?
Well, as you know, we care about veterans tremendously. I mean, that's something the president has always cared about. Anybody in blue, anybody that serves this country. But at the same time, we have taxpayer dollars. We have a fiscal responsibility to use taxpayer dollars to pay people that actually work. That doesn't mean that we forget our veterans by any means. We are going to care for them in the right way, but perhaps they're not fit to have a job at this moment or not willing to come to work. And we can't, I wouldn't take money from you and pay somebody and say, sorry, they're not going to come to work. It's just not acceptable.
Perhaps some veterans don't deserve a job.
Come to work, and we can't way, but perhaps they're not fit to have a job at this.
They're not fit to have a job.
Moment are not willing to come to work. And
yeah, veterans. They just aren't. We all know how veterans are, not willing to come to work. This is like a level of shitting on members of the military I've never seen from the government. That is what Donald Trump thinks about soldiers. That is what Donald Trump thinks about veterans. And if you are a current soldier, it is, and you're like, well, it doesn't apply to me. It's what he's going to think about you someday. You're someday you're going to retire. Every single member of the military needs to know exactly what these ghouls think of them. This is how Donald Trump treated John McCain. Yeah, he thinks soldiers that get captured are losers. Soldiers that withstand months of torture in order to save their fellow soldiers, losers. And now he thinks that if you are a soldier or a veteran, well, sometimes you guys just don't deserve jobs. Sure, you may have served your country faithfully. Sure, you may have put your life on the line, but you're a sucker, according to these people. Some of you don't even deserve a job, apparently. So I want you to make sure every single veteran sees that. Every single, enlisted man sees this. Because, guys, these are the people who... These people in power right now in the United States, they hate all of us. They literally voted to put more shit in our water. It's not even... I'm not even kidding right now. Like, the Republicans empowered this. This is an article from earlier today. U.S. Supreme Court weakens rules on discharge of raw sewage into water supplies. Yeah, just what everyone was clamoring for in America, I'm sure. More shit in the water. 10,000%. These people are trying to consolidate their control over America so that they can save their donors, their big money corporate donors, those billionaires that are all buddy with Donald Trump in his halls of power right now. They're trying to slash all these regulations so that they can pay less money and become wealthier. They're trying to roll back protections against child labor so that these wealthy fucks can get wealthier at our expense, at the expense of your kids and the slashed and mangled limbs that will inevitably be chewed up in machinery. You know, there was a time in this country when, because we didn't have regulations, children put their hands into machinery and wiggled into tough crawl spaces in the mines. They died for that. Children died for us to have regulations. When we have regulations on clean water, children died because the water was dirty. Children are the ones who initially bear the brunt of these unregulated fields. A lot of people died for every OSHA regulation, but a lot of people also died for a lot of other regulations. Regulations against lead in your gasoline, regulations against chemicals in the sky that made it rain acid, regulations against dumping waste into rivers, the kind of thing that literally in the 70s had rivers catch on fire. That stopped because we started regulating it. And by the way, it turns out you also don't want to drink water from rivers that catch on fire. Okay? So, all I'm saying is, if you think that Donald Trump and Elon Musk and these billionaire fucks in office right now have your back, they don't. They're playing you for fools. And we need to start doing something about it. We need to start protesting. We need to start organizing. We need to start acting against this government that is goose stepping its way into power, with Elon Musk throwing actual honest to God Nazi salutes, with Steve Bannon throwing actual honest to God Nazi salutes at CPAC on the same stage occupied by the President of the United States. We need to start showing awareness of the time we're in and mobilizing and acting accordingly. To that end, I'm calling on folks, share this video and also join your local Democrats to radicalize them. Join your local DSA to organize. Pressure your local political apparatuses to do the right thing with on-the-ground local pressure, because you wield so much more power on a local level than you give yourself credit for. And if you can wield that power locally, you can start to wield it on a state level. And if you can start to wield it on a state level, you can start to wield it on a national level. It is how the game is played, and we need to start playing this game to win it. Okay? We need to start playing to win. It's not enough to start to just point at, oh man, the Democratic Party sucks. Yeah, we all know it sucks. It's time to take that and forge it into something better. And if that means we have to get it red hot and boiling with our rage before it gets molded into something that's actually goddamn useful, then so be it. We will do that. We will rally up this base into a raging inferno, and we will organize and win the day. That's how the entire game is played. So, join your local Democrats. join your local DSA. That way you can pressure the Democrats inside and outside. And then also join your local Indivisible chapter. And if you don't have a local Indivisible chapter, make one. Okay. Indivisible has been doing some of the best work organizing protests across the country to increase grassroots pressure against these sitting politicians on both the right and the left. And they are by far, by my estimation, doing the best job with almost no resources. And the more people we get plugged into that, the better. Okay. Elon Musk is actually going after the founders of Indivisible because of how effective they've been. So let's keep doing that. You can also show up and protest Tesla. Go to teslatakedown.com. You can find a local protest or make one of your own. And so far, Elon Musk has lost over $100 billion due to protests against his companies. And that number needs to go up even higher. He needs to lose more money. The price of his ascension needs to be extracted. All right. So go and protest. Again, and if you want to get involved in some of the swing races that are happening right now, I know Commit to Democracy is having a postcard writing campaign for the House race in Florida. There are a bunch of special elections coming up. If you want to help turn people out to those, you can join the Commit to Democracy postcard writing campaign. It's very good, very effective. Helps get thousands more people out there to either volunteer or to vote. So very, very important. Very, very important. Yeah, Tesla has gone down just 4.4% today alone. And in Europe, they've started burning down Tesla dealerships. So like, I don't think other countries are gonna just take what Tesla and Elon Musk are doing sitting down. In fact, one of the stories I read earlier today and wasn't even going to bring up was that Europe has already planned and started embracing a new satellite internet providing service to replace Starlink. So, like, Godspeed, Europe. Get as far away from this hellhole as possible. You know. They can't get away with what they're doing to our veterans. I don't believe they can either. And you can help them not get away with it by sharing out this video. And you know what? I'll even post the blue sky to the particular clip made by Aaron Rupar. Doing, Aaron Rupar might be a lib, but you know what? He's doing God's work by clipping these ghouls and paying attention to them 24/7. Because goddamn, it's hard to do. I can tell you guys firsthand, it's hard to do. Also, just real quick, just real quick, in case you were like, well, I mean, AI is going to save us all, right? Flights to Reagan National Airport in DC received false collision alerts while landing. Oopsie. Oopsie.
Whoopsie.
Yeah. It's no good. The Federal Aviation Administration is investigating after several airliners on approach to land at Washington Reagan National Airport Saturday morning received what appeared to be false alarms from their onboard traffic collision avoidance system. It's been happening all morning. Let me know if you see anything. No one else has seen anything except for TCAS. One air traffic controller can be heard telling an inbound flight. At least 12 flight crews reported receiving false alerts. Let's see here. Former chair of the National Transportation Safety Board and CBS News transportation safety analyst Robert Sumwalt said that the situation is unusual. I've never heard of something like this, the retired 737 captain said. Nuisance alerts, yes, they happen, but not like this where several planes have it at the same location. Now, I don't know what's going on, obviously. Um, if I had to take a wild guess, it would be that perhaps Elon Musk and his team of Doge boys are trying to integrate AI into the air traffic control system. That would be my guess. This sounds like someone mucking about in the systems of this particular airport in order to mess with the air traffic control system. So, I don't know if that is the case. Because no one seems to have any answers about this. But it would be very strange to me if it wasn't something like that. If we have no other records of this happening at the DC International Airport, that's a really close coincidence to me. I genuinely I have no idea. It'd be weird to keep getting these alerts in the same airport at the same time for the first time ever and it being something else, but of course it could be. You know, this is my tinfoil hat segment. All right. It's Elon. He's chewing on the wires. Yeah. God. AI is not ready for air traffic control. It absolutely is not. Let me look at one thing real quick. Do, 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 do. Just looking up here. God. So I was just looking up the key system that they were looking at in this is the traffic alert and collision avoidance system, which is the TCAS. Now, the TCAS on an aircraft operates largely independently of the ground. However, that doesn't bar people actually fiddling with it when it's on the ground for maintenance. So I don't know. Again, conspiracy hat time. They are they trying to make TCAS like I guess part of me is wondering if they're trying to like apply an AI to those in order to replace air traffic control. I genuinely I don't know. There's part of me where I'm like, at this point, I'm just going full conspiracy nut. So, take that idea and throw it in the trash. But like, that's where my brain goes. God. Yeah, avoiding crashes is a good thing, which is why I'm skeptical of AI being integrated into those devices. All right. One last thing, folks. Folks, they're coming for Social Security. Republicans have their eyes set on it, but every elected Republican obviously is too terrified to actually take a crack at, eliminating it, getting rid of it, cutting it, because it would plunge the country into chaos. And that means that they are more than happy to outsource that job to Donald Trump and by proxy, Elon Musk and Doge. If you'll notice, a lot of the communications around Social Security is a big talk of fraud within the Social Security administration. And the reason they are talking about fraud when it comes to Social Security is not because there is fraud. It's because they want to cut Social Security under another name. And Congress, being full of cowards, is trying to allow Donald Trump to do that. So one of the big things from last week was that the Social Security Administration, the organization that disperses Social Security, had its number of offices cut by 60%. And on top of that, they are firing thousands of employees. And that has an actual real effect. And if you're wondering what kind of effect on the world that may have, here is...
If you are calling about the status...
Oh, here is one Sandy Batcham, who writes on Blue Sky, I'm 80 years old. I decided to call Social Security. If you're calling about a disability application due to staffing reductions, our average processing time for disability applications is 200 to 230 days. The estimated hold time is greater than 120 minutes. Let's just listen to this call, shall we?
If you are calling about the status of a disability application due to staffing reductions, our average processing time for disability applications is between 200 to 230 days to review your information and medical records. After our review, you will get a letter in the mail with the decision. To ensure quality, your call may be monitored or recorded. At the conclusion of your call, we would like you to participate in a short survey and tell us about your experience. If you would like to participate in the survey, please stay on the line after the agent hangs up. An alternative way to provide feedback is by completing our survey at ssa.gov/feedback. The estimated hold time is greater than 120 minutes. If you are calling about the
One of the ways to cut Social Security in effect, if not on paper, is to cut the administration of Social Security. The fewer people there are to take those calls, the fewer calls get answered, the fewer money gets dispersed, the fewer applications get approved. Cutting that administration and those bureaucrats slows it down to a crawl so that no one can access their benefits other than the people who are privileged enough to be able to sit for 5 hours to be able to talk to an actual person. Um, not every elderly person can do that. Not every able body person can do that. Not every, disabled person can do that. Um, so like it's insane. And the entire purpose of defunding it is to de facto cut it. If you make it more difficult, the more hoops you put up, the more difficult you make it to achieve, the fewer people will actually make it. This is actually really commonly known in advertising circles. The more hoops you put between someone and the thing you're asking them to do, the fewer people do the thing. For example, if I told you all to go and donate to a special cause, but in order to get to that special cause donation page, you had to click uh, 10 buttons instead of 3, fewer people would actually do that. And that's just clicking through buttons. That's not expecting someone to wait on a call. For God knows how long, or waiting for an application to process for over 230 days, most of a year. The entire premise here is cutting Social Security. And people can say, oh, Donald Trump wouldn't do that. No, he's going to. There's really no way he avoids doing that and gives out the trillions of dollars in tax cuts to the world's wealthiest men that he's currently planning on doing. And honestly, if you ask him about it point blank, he's just going to lie to you the same way he did about Medicaid cuts. He said, oh no, we're not going to cut Medicaid, after endorsing the Medicaid the plan, the tax budget plan that cuts Medicaid by almost $1 trillion. These people are evil. They are duplicitous, and
It
they are
also
trying to
helps
trick
bolster
you.
there. The federal government can't possibly provide the service you need, but the private sector can. Narrative.
Exactly. Like, the entire purpose is to inshitify the entire public sector to make it so that everyone clamors for private sector things, um, in order to privatize whatever public sector things we have left, whether it's transit or Social Security or Medicaid, whatever. They want to privatize it because someone stands to make an awful lot of money off of it. It's not great. Not great at all. It's just I feel so bad because so many people are going to get so hurt. And it's a question of how much hurt can people really take before they fucking lose it, you know? Are they going to try to privatize the military? Probably. There were pitches to George W. Bush to privatize the war in Afghanistan and Iraq. It wouldn't surprise me if there were similar pitches to Trump. So I don't know. I really hope people find out about this before we start getting completely screwed. Make your 5 calls, call your representatives, call your senator, call, every elected official you got up and down the line in order to let them know that they better support this. They better protect Social Security. They better protect Medicaid. They better protect your rights and the civil rights of your fellows. It takes more than that, though. You need to get out there and join your local Democrats. You need to get out there and join your local DSA. You need to get out there and join your local Indivisible protests or your Tesla takedown protests. It's not enough to simply be correct anymore. It's not enough to simply sit back in your chair and be like, that's the correct thing right there. Being correct. That's enough. No, it's not enough. You actually have to do now. We are called upon in this era of heightened responsibility to do more than we previously were doing. That's what's required of us to be good and decent people in these times. Figure out what you can do and do something. Do something. Okay? If no one will listen, figure out a way to make them listen. Figure out a way to organize with folks and make them listen. Show up to their offices with press. Make some kind of protest scene. There are things you can do. So, understand our context is that it was never going to be a fair fight. The odds have always been stacked against us. They are stacked against us now. But we will continue to fight. We will continue to organize. We will continue to grow stronger. And make no mistake, the American public is stronger now than we were, 2 months ago. We are stronger now and more awake now than we were then. And that awareness and strength is only going to continue to grow alongside our fury. And at some point, we will win. So get out there and get to work. I didn't hear no bell. Now, folks, we've been going for about 2 hours now, though the stream hiccuped in the middle. But if you've been enjoying or getting anything out of stream today, please hit that follow button on Twitch, hit that subscribe button on YouTube, like that YouTube stream, and please consider dropping those subs, those donos, those memberships, those super chats. Please consider supporting the stream in any way that you see fit, because folks, this show is brought to you by viewers like you. I'm not a large enough program to have wealthy sponsors. I'm not a large enough program to live off of ad revenue. And so if you are enjoying the show, please consider dropping those subs, donos, memberships, super chats, etc., because that is what allows me to continue to live and to continue making this show. Oilers. God, I love the Honka S emote. I love the Honka S emote so much. Makes me so happy. Oh. She's not even sponsored by a superpower. It's true. I refused the Russia money. It's true. I did. Hopefully very soon, if not now, already now, AI will be able to help people make AAA video games solo by themselves. I'm not terribly interested in a AAA video game mostly done by AI. Big balls are now required. It's true. It's true, Deborah McDonald. It's true. Oh, guys. How you doing? Could I distract you with the small issue I'm having with some game art? Sure, if I can help. Oh god, why are we talking about SAO? Why are we talking about Sword Art Online? Fucking kill me. Why? Uh How long do we give it until Trump tries to put his face on currency? I mean, his supporters already are, for sure. SAO, search engine optimization.
What kind of perfume does the Dono ghost wear? Oh.
Sweet Blasphemy, thank you for the $5 dono. And you know what? I think I hear something haunting the studio.
I hereby cast a spell of warning to protect the chat. And a second spell to summon the Dono ghost.
Oh. Nomi Sunrider, this is a song by Jazz Dog. It's a Jazz Dog original. It's the Dono Ghost song. It does remind me of Napstab Look's theme, but it's great. Hey, One-Eyed Heathen, thank you for the $5.
I am now possessed by the Dawn Ghost.
Thank you for the $5 super chat. Thank you, One-Eyed Heathen. I'm glad you guys are having a good time with this show. Central Scrutinizer, thank you for the 100 biddies. Jowser, thank you for the 250 biddies. Oh, 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 oh. Tier Star, thank you for the tier 1 sub. That was fun. Thank you very much. And the Distron, you're upping the resolution of your main character in the game you're making. Yo! Rex Parka, thank you for gifting a tier 1 sub to Jowser. Let's go! Thank you so goddamn much. Thank you so much. But Distron writes, hey people, so I'm upping the resolution of my main character. Here's one of the tests I had someone make next to the original scaled up. Does her new pose seem kind of pinup model-esque? Like, I feel the original pose was more business-like. Take a look. Yeah, I mean, the leg is kind of trailing a little bit in order to, like, have the character shifted more towards the camera. I don't know, like, I'm not entirely sure, is this the vibe you're going for? Because, like, if pinup model is what you're going for, like, this one looks good. She does look, like, more expressive in the image on the right and, like, ready to fight. And that's kind of cool. Yeah, I don't know. I think honestly both could be kind of like the pose on the left is more neutral. I don't know, business like is the term I'd use. I just use more like neutral. Versus like this seems much more like, hey, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to fight. kind of thing. You know? Like a pinup model if the pinup model wanted to fight you. Is that MMA Jack? Oh, Critical Rad TV, we're just taking a short break. We'll get back to it. Don't you worry. Yeah, maybe that's a good way of putting it, axolotls with cream. OG feels like she just spawned in. New one feels like she's alive. Yeah. Elizabeth also brings up a good point about the neutral sprite being more kind of top heavy, which, yeah, versus this one being more bottom heavy. Yeah, I can definitely see that. Again, not a bad observation, just an observation. Please don't make me watch the joint session again. I'm sorry. I'm a politics streamer. I have to do it to you. I have to do it. But there will be light at the end of that tunnel, folks. We will be going over the joint session, but to kind of balance it out, we'll be going over some of the post responses that didn't suck shit. So that's good. That's what we'll be doing. Do a joint during the session. Yeah, but it's boring in ways that like we can talk about, I think. Are you also going to cover Bernie's? I'm going to cover Bernie's and AOC's. And you know what? Oh, what the hell? We'll give Elise Stefanik's response a shot. But I'm expecting nothing but feckless spinelessness from her. So we'll see how angry I am by the time we finish the initial thing of it all.
About an hour. This is his 5th overall and the first of his second term. But
know that Trump is. And you were talking.
Yeah, does anyone know what the pink thing is? Is that related to like cancer research being cut or something? God, can I? Okay. You know what? We didn't even properly intro this yet. So, folks, the person we elected to be president of the United States in the country of America is apparently still Donald Trump, and he decided he wanted to address Congress like a big boy. And so we're going to be going over that here. And I don't know, just get ready to be kind of infuriated about it, you know? Just be ready to be upset.
Having just done the Oscars 2 nights ago. It's not quite as
To see him.
a big.
I return to this chamber tonight to report that America's momentum is back, our spirit is back, our pride is back, our confidence is back, and the American dream is surging bigger and better than ever before.
Why does that merit a clap? Genuine question here. Nothing he said means anything. It's all vibes. Why are you clapping?
The American dream is unstoppable, and our country is on the verge of a comeback, the likes of which the world has never witnessed and perhaps will never witness again.
Also, dog, you just put 25% tariffs on our 2 closest allies, and an additional 10% tariff on one of the countries that makes most of the stuff in the United States. Like, our economic prospects have never been bleaker in my lifetime. It's bad. It's bad. How do you have the gall to get up on stage and say this?
It's never been anything like it. The presidential election of November 5th was a mandate like has not been seen in many decades.
That's just not the case. He won by a slimmer margin than he did in 2016. Like, even by his own standard, he has less of a mandate now than he did before.
We won all 7 swing states, giving us an electoral college victory of 312 votes.
Yeah, so Democrats decided to do like this weird auctioneer bit where they held up signs to condemn him, and it's just like, bro, I understand that like the Democrats are completely and utterly rudderless right now as a result of feckless leadership from people like Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, but like I don't know, if you're going to express your distaste or disfavor of the current administration, fucking boo him. boo, like at the very least, stand up and boo. Like, honestly, if I'm going to like spitball here, and if Democrats were going to show up to this and not just immediately do a mass walkout and protest, what they needed to do is like show up and one by one boo until one of them got ejected, boo until another one got ejected, boo, keep going. There are a lot of Democrats in that building, folks. They could have delayed this speech for hours, you know, until like whatever stimulant they put Donald Trump on before his speech wears off and he starts falling asleep. All right? Until he goes like apoplectic with rage, okay? I've heard the stand up and turn their backs on him. Nah, I make a scene. Delay the entire proceedings. Delay the entire proceedings. Democrats were asked to bring guests that like Donald Trump and his policies have hurt. And it's just like, if you're going to do that, have each person who brought someone stand up and yell out who that person is and how the president hurt him. Turn this event into like some of the greatest news in American history. You know? One by one, get ejected by shouting out different people's stories who were harmed. And, you know, like they just, instead they have little signs. Little signs that no one will read. Or maybe libs will, you know, gawk at in the Washington Post or whatever's left of it after Jeff Bezos has had his way with it.
We won the popular vote by big numbers and won counties in our country.
More booing. Dude should have gotten up. Dude should have. You know what? He has a cane. There's a history of caning in this body. I'm just saying. Every single one of these Republicans who is enthusiastically cheering on in order to shout down someone trying to protest the president, trying to speak truth to power, every single one of these people, whenever this administrative coup comes to an end, needs to be put in prison. They need to be put on trial. Like, they're all complicit with this as far as I'm concerned. Like, every single one of them supports the president usurping the authority of Congress and the court. Every single one. Yeah, Trump doesn't have a mandate. He has less of a if he has any, he has less of one now than he did in 2016, which was a shockingly slim margin, by the way, just in the history of elections. It was not a Reagan sweep. Let's put it that way.
And won counties in our country, 2,700 to 525.
You know what? I'm actually, you know what? The noise the Dems are making, I'm glad. You know, it's nice to hear it. I don't know that they'll keep up this energy, but like, look what they made them do.
2,700 to 525.
He literally does the "get him out of here" gesture. Insane. Like an old-timey mobster. It's crazy. I'm not getting my hopes up, but I do have to say my hopes were lower than hearing actual boos during this. So, you know, the barest possible minimum bar cleared.
On a map that reads almost completely red for Republican. Now, for the first time in modern history, more Americans believe that our country is headed in the right direction than the wrong direction. In fact, it's an astonishing record, 27-point swing, the most ever.
You know what would have been funny though? Like in the history of skullduggery in this body, like I don't know, if someone's just like an enterprising member of the House of Representatives with like a pair of scissors, maybe find whatever cord is connecting that microphone to the sound system and just snip it. You know, I'm just a humble country streamer, okay? But like, I don't know. That'd be kind of funny, right? I don't know. I think there are small things that could happen that would have helped them resist this a bit more.
Likewise, small business optimism saw its single largest one-month gain ever recorded, a 41-point jump.
Yeah, by the way, the country's economy is currently tanking. Guys, there's a reason he's doing this the day the tariffs go into effect. So instead of, you know, when the State of the Union is supposed to take place, because he wants to do it before people are too angry about the tariffs. Because people aren't feeling the tariffs quite yet, but they're going to be very, very soon.
Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum in the House and to cease any further disruptions. That's your warning.
He has no mandate. What a badass. Well, a bunch of absolute cowards sit doing nothing behind him.
Members are engaging in willful and continuing breach of decorum, and the chair is prepared to direct the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order to the joint session.
See what I mean? Make them do this over and over and over and over again. Make them do this. This is taking them, what, 5 minutes to kick out one person? Make them do it again. Make them do it again. Make them do it again. Only takes 6 elected members of Congress to delay this by an hour, I guess. I don't know. Throw sand in the works. What's the worst? If you're a member of Congress, what's the worst that's going to happen to you? You know? What's the worst that's going to happen to you? They're going to take you to like the nearest Hilton hotel at worst to like hold you. Right? Like, I don't know. Are they clapping like this after the 3rd or 4th or 5th time it happens? I don't think so. Delay the proceedings over and over and over and over again. Delay it. Make them kick out people one by one until all of a sudden the Republicans start leaving because it's 4 o'clock in the morning. They have to get home to their families. And Donald Trump is basically falling asleep at the stage. Do it. You can literally make that happen if you are members of Congress. That's what an organized party could have done, you know? Like an actual organized resistance to this shit.
Mr. Green, take your seat. Take your seat, sir. Take your seat. Finding that members continue to engage in willful and concerted disruption or...
Because, like, you know, you could, again, Speaker Johnson has to do this. And he's saying members. He's trying to kick out multiple people. If you coordinated and had one person disrupting at a time, not much you can do about that except kick you out one by one. Just saying. Democrats need to let go of the respect for institution that they have previously had for this body, and they need to treat it like the actual arena it is. They need to understand that they're playing for keeps. And many of them do, but choose to do nothing instead, in which case more political pressure needs to be applied to them to do their jobs and to grow a spine if they do not have one. But some of them do understand it. And I think rapidly we are getting to a point where, like, things are going to get nuts. Trump looks even more dried up than usual. Yes, he does.
Proper decorum. The chair now directs the sergeant at arms to
Look at this smug motherfucker. He's so self-satisfied that he got someone kicked out.
restore order. Remove this gentleman from the chamber.
You know what? Make him. Like, don't march out. Make them drag you out. You know? This guy's doing an awful lot, but like a coordinated movement where they have to bring in people to drag out members of Congress, that's a bigger story than just being calmly escorted out, right? Yeah, like they're all laughing and jeering and stuff. Are they going to be doing that after the 10th one? After all proceedings have been delayed by, 3 hours, when something that was supposed to happen at 8:30 at night is now suddenly taking place at 10:30, 12:30 in the morning? I don't think so. I think they suddenly become a less smug.
Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum in the House. Mr. President, you continue.
Thank you. Over the past 6 weeks, I have signed nearly 100 executive orders and taken more than 400 executive actions, a record to restore common sense, safety, optimism, and wealth all across our wonderful land. The people elected me to do the job, and I'm doing it. In fact, it has been stated by many that the first month of our presidency, it's our presidency, is the most successful in the history of our nation. By many.
Like, this isn't it. This isn't it. This is not the move that the current climate calls for.
That is such a sad sign. I heard Hakeem Jeffries is to blame.
Of course he is. Hakeem Jeffries answers to the same Techland billionaire millionaire class that is currently puppeteering Washington. Through Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and the like. Like, it's gross. And these people, the Hakeem Jeffries of the Democratic Party, they need to lose their jobs. We need to get in there and get them the fuck out. It should not be politically tenable for them to have another season of power. Yeah, look, the thing is, and I think it's good. Eventually, I know that eventually, like Maxwell Frost, Pramila Jayapal, etc., a bunch of these people walk out, and that's good. But like, we need more than that, you know. I know AOC boycotted the entire thing, which is good. I think that was a good move. Because if you're going to be here at all, you need to be here to make a scene and make a spectacle, in order to bring attention to how big of a lying fuck our president is and all of the people around him. And it's not enough to say that's a lie, false, like you're fucking Snopes. Okay, this is a tactic that may have worked 10 years ago. It doesn't work now. You know?
And what makes it even more impressive is that, do you know who number 2 is? George Washington. How about that? How about that? I don't know about that list, but we'll take it. Within hours of...
Man, he really has a boner for comparing himself to being better than Washington. It's crazy.
Taking the oath of office, I declared a national emergency on our southern border, and I deployed...
I Banana Brains, full disclosure, I have not watched it, but I have seen a lot of Blue Sky posts about it. So there are some things I know, but I haven't actually watched the thing for myself yet, which is why we're going over it on stream.
The U.S. military and Border Patrol to repel the invasion of our country.
Yeah, the invasion of Canadians. That's why we installed a 25% tariff against Canada, because of the invasion from Canada.
And what a job they've done. As a result, illegal border crossings last month were by far the lowest ever recorded, ever.
Okay. I genuinely don't know if that's true, so I'm going to Google that right now. Border crossings by year, because there's like a decent chance here that when he says they've recorded the lowest border crossings ever, he's like looking at every year up until 2025, and 2025 is only, you know, we're only two months in, really, and you know, he's comparing those numbers to a full year of numbers. That to me, that seems like the only way you could really arrive at that conclusion. But let's see. Oh, damn. Axios is reporting that may in fact be true. Border Patrol recorded around 8,300 apprehensions of migrants who crossed the border unlawfully between ports of entry in February, according to data obtained by Axios. January, according to CBP stats, Border Patrol recorded some 29,100 encounters, down from 47,300 the month prior. The February numbers are the lowest recorded since fiscal year 2000, the earliest year of monthly data publicly accessible. Damn. I mean, it doesn't help us that that is happening. That actually hurts our economy. It's not a good thing. But you know what? I'm surprised we found something that, like, may in fact be true that he said. That's crazy. It's like finding a diamond in a pile of horse shit.
They heard my words and they chose not to come. Much easier that way.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I wouldn't want to be here if I was undocumented either. And honestly, I'm nervous here just being a documented person.
In comparison, under Joe Biden, the worst president in American history, there were hundreds of thousands of illegal
The worst president in U.S. history? I don't think you can call Joe Biden that. Like, we've had so many worse presidents. What about the presidents that did like the genocides in the Philippines, or, I I think there are a lot
If
of
Dems
terrible
had a
ones.
spine, they'd defend open borders. Those bookstores were amazing.
Right? Open borders, books. Bring in the immigrants to staff up borders again. Open the borders. I appreciate the jokes, Sake Tanuki. Thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. The streamer check chat. I do indeed. Yeah, Critical Rad TV. He wants to put in another 25% tariff on top of the 25% tariff on Canada. So, everything's stupid and nothing will happen until people start feeling pain, I guess. And they will sooner rather than later. God. Yeah, these two look like Trump just finished giving them hand jobs and they're eager to reciprocate.
a month, and virtually all of them, including murderers, drug dealers, gang members, and people from mental institutions and insane asylums, were released into our country. Who would want to do that? This is my 5th such speech to Congress. And once again, I look at the Democrats.
I heard someone say that's where you belong, about an insane asylum. Like, y'all need to go so much harder if you're gonna show up and heckle the president. You need to bring like a fucking megaphone, okay? You need to if you're gonna turn up to heckle, you bring your heckling tools, None of this half-assery.
Democrats in front of me, and I realize there is absolutely nothing I can say to make them happy or to make them stand or smile or applaud. Nothing I can do. I could find a cure to the most devastating disease, a disease that would...
No, there's no evidence for any of the claims he's making when he's talking about immigrants bringing in diseases and being from insane asylums or being all rapists or drug dealers or criminals. It's just not true. Statistically speaking, undocumented immigrants are less likely to commit crime than native-born Americans, than the people who are born here.
Would wipe out entire nations or announce the answers to the greatest economy in history or the stoppage of crime to the lowest levels ever recorded. And these people sitting right here will not clap, will not stand, and certainly will not cheer for these astronomical achievements. They won't do it, no matter what. Five times I've been up here.
They won't do it no matter what. Why aren't you cheering for me and the economy I've made? Don't look at the 25 to potentially 50% tariff we're putting on goods coming into the country. Don't look at any of that. Don't look at the stock market, folks.
It's very sad, and it just shouldn't be this way.
Yeah, everyone should be giving me a hand job. Everyone should just be jerking me off every day. Mm-hmm.
So Democrats sitting before me, for just this one night, why not join us in celebrating so many incredible wins for America? For the good of our nation, let's work together.
During one of those pauses, someone really needed to yell like "fuck off." Just if you're gonna heckle better than like a stand-up comics audience would.
And let's truly make America great again. Every day, my administration is fighting to deliver the change America needs to bring a future that America deserves, and we're doing it. This is...
I mean, the future we deserve because of all of like the indigenous genocide, the future we deserve because of again horrible things we've done to African Americans. Like what I feel like your words are true in a certain way, but not in the way you mean them.
This is a time for big dreams and bold action. Upon taking office, I imposed an immediate freeze on all federal hiring, a freeze on all new federal regulations, and a freeze on all foreign aid.
Things he can't do unilaterally as the president.
I terminated the ridiculous Green New Scam. I withdrew.
The Green New Deal wasn't even a law. You can't terminate it. The idea was just invest in energy that doesn't kill the planet.
From the unfair Paris Climate Accord, which was costing us trillions of dollars.
Yeah, to save us money. It cost us trillions of dollars to save us quadrillions of dollars in damages from natural disasters due to climate change.
That other countries were not.
Like even if you granted at face value, all of that investment is to prevent damage that would decimate our ability to continue to live in the world.
I withdrew from the corrupt World Health Organization. And I also withdrew from the anti-American UN Human Rights Council.
There's something so on-the-nosely dystopian about calling the UN Human Rights Council anti-American. Like they're so like what can I do to like turn that into a joke when on its face it's just like the most glaring indictment of his entire platform that one could imagine. It's honestly it is Hitler shit. These people are Nazis. I've said that before and I stand by it. Like we know from like statements from like Trump's ex-wife that he had like speeches of Hitler in his nightstand and he would read them. Like this dude loves Hitler. There's a reason why his campaign advisor and strategist for his 2016 campaign, Steve Bannon, threw a Nazi salute at CPAC this year. There's a reason Elon Musk threw 2 Nazi salutes, just a few weeks ago. It's because they're Nazis. It's not rocket science and it's not complicated.
We ended all of Biden's environmental restrictions that were
Why is his ear so shiny? It's gross.
Making our country far less safe and totally unaffordable. And importantly, we ended the last administration's insane electric vehicle mandate, saving our auto workers and companies from economic destruction.
Oh my god, wait. Is this really like 2 hours long? Does he really go like another hour and 20 minutes? Guys, I gotta be honest. I don't know if I got an hour and 20 minutes of this in me. I don't know that we can cover this whole thing just because it's just so much bullshit. Nothing he says is true, except for that one thing that we discovered. That was crazy. But like, I can give a summary. The summary is just a gigantic horse turd emerging from a horse anus. Like, that's the summary. And apparently that horse happened to eat, I don't know, a potato that emerged unscathed. But, you know, covered in shit, I guess. God. You know, I think this might be about as much of this as we watch. We're gonna move on from this into response speeches, because guys, I can't imagine subjecting any of you guys to all of this. You know, I can't do that. I can't do it to you. I can't do it to me. Let's just take a quick look here at well, we'll get to that in a minute. I'm going to take a quick break, use the bathroom. If you all are enjoying the stream, hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, drop some subs, donos, memberships, super chats if you're enjoying it. And I will be back in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere, folks.
In a pleasant wooded valley lived a huntsman tall and able. He relied on skill and cunning for the food upon his table. He would walk the forest shadows with his little son in tow, teaching him the archer's art and all that he should know. Keep your eye clear and keen like a falcon on the wing. Keep your heart strong and steady like your hand upon the string. Never bow to a tyrant while your people are laid low, for the highest head may fall to the man who wields a bow. In the valley there was freedom and a man was left to living, but as year gave way to year the ruling men grew less forgiving. On a day as black as death a governor to rule them came, turning landsmen into slaves, and Gessler was his name. In the center of the village Gessler set a lofty pillar, and he ordered every subject, be he serf or be he miller, to do homage to the hat that Gessler placed atop the pole, or to forfeit to the crown his life if not his soul. But the huntsman William Tell came into town the morning after. William heard of Gessler's order and could only roar with laughter. Honest men should hold a rank above a petty autocrat. I would never bow to him, I'll not bow to his hat. Keep your eye clear and keen like a falcon on the wing. Keep your heart strong and steady like your hand upon the string. Never bow to a tyrant while your people are laid low, for the highest head may fall to the man who wields a bow. Gessler's soldiers seized the huntsman and his little son for treason, but the people of the village cried for mercy and for reason. Gessler stays the execution, but a cruel test contrives. Prove to me your skill, and you may ransom back your lives. I have heard it said you have no peer with longbow and with arrow, that your shaft can find the quickest hare and fell the smallest sparrow. On the head of your young son I'll place an apple ripe and red. Split it with one shot, or at my word you both are dead. William Tell went to his son and said, I swear I will not hurt you. Courage will not bow to fear, nor shall this evil conquer virtue. Turn your face towards our home and stand as still as any tree. I will split the apple, we shall soon be home and free. Keep your eye clear and keen like a falcon on the wing. Keep your heart strong and steady like your hand upon the string. Never bow to a tyrant while your people are laid low. For the highest head may fall to the man who wields a bow. Every tongue was still and silent as the archer paced the distance. Gessler's soldiers lined the square and there was no hope of resistance. William knocked a single arrow, put his shoulders back and drew. Then the arrow sang and split the apple clean in two. All at once the crowd erupted into cheers and into chatter, and a second arrow fell from William's quiver with a clatter. Gessler said, why hold two arrows when I bid you shoot but one? That one would have found your heart if I had shot my son. Take the archer now and hang him, Gessler to his men was crying. But before the soldiers moved, the archer and his son were flying. From the shelter of the wood, the hunter loosed a final dart. Gessler died with William's arrow buried in his heart. Keep your eye clear and keen like a falcon on the wing. Keep your heart strong and steady like your hand upon the string. Never bow to a tyrant while your people are laid low. For the highest head may fall to the man who wields a bow. Keep your eye clear and keen like a falcon on the wing. Keep your heart strong and steady like your hand upon the string. Never bow to a tyrant while your people are laid low. For the highest head may fall to the man who wields a bow.
So this is a song that we wrote, that I wrote with my friend Mike Richardson, who's from southern West Virginia, and it's about the coal mining wars in West Virginia in the 1920s, called the Battle of Blair Mountain. 2, 3, 4. Find a vein, drain the black gold. Hoping to God that the timbers hold. Like my father before me, it's all I know. We live only to harvest the coal. Harvest the coal. Mine owner's mercy, about as shallow as a grave. We're living in shanty towns, we ain't got no say. 14-hour shifts, such a meager wage. And Mother Jones can't help us now anyway. Anyway, we'll take the roads, we'll take the trees by force. Oh, deliver us love from the gathering stores. Lay down your Bibles, take up your guns. Blair Mountain, here we come. Oh, here we come. Red bandanas that tell us what side you're on. Yeah, we're the rednecks of the Union 1921. We'll leave tonight at 13,000 strong and take the fight to Blair Mountain before the dawn. Before the dawn. We'll take the roads, we'll take the trains by force. Oh, deliver us love from the gathering stores. Lay down your Bibles, take up your guns. Blair Mountain, here we come. Oh, here we come. Oh, I fight for my father, still buried in the mine. I fight for my son, so he'll have a better life. We're soldiers of a great war, and it don't seem right to treat a man like a dog just to make a dime. Just to make a dime. We'll take the roads, we'll take the trains by force. Oh, deliver us love from the gathering stores. Lay down your Bibles, take up your guns. Blair Mountain, here we come. Oh, here we come. Here we come. So find a vein, drain the black gold. You better hope to God that those timbers hold.
Yeah, wonderful. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Those who make peaceful revolution impossible will make violent revolution inevitable.
Yes, we have to deny so many claims per month to meet our shareholders' expectations.
including children, have lost their health insurance.
What's so frustrating is that politicians have spent decades saying they recognize the problem and they make promises to do something about it, and then almost nothing happens.
You know what they say to themselves in the dark. It's only a crime if you don't wear a tie. We keep them all busy paying their fines. Hear the epiphany, light up the spark. You know what they say to themselves in the dark. It's only a crime if you don't wear a tie.
Seniors are the fastest growing segment of the homeless population.
And this is a great thing because it inspires everybody, gets some motivation to look up to the 1% and say,
now they're looking at your posts, they're looking at your anger, and they're moving to apprehend those who say something in anger.
Increasingly by choice or by accident, this is the role our nation has taken, the role of those who make peaceful revolution impossible by refusing to give up the privileges and the pleasures that come from the immense profits of overseas investments.
Yo, Fenry, thank you for getting a sub.
I thought I set this thing to auto-renew. Anyway.
Nope.
I thought I set this thing to auto-renew. Anyway, you're one of the only American-made products I want to support these days.
Hell yeah. Look, one of the few American-made products you guys can support with a clean conscience. Let's go. Export the revolution, huh? You know? Thank you very much, Fenry. And also, hello, folks. I'm back. I know that was a little bit of a sojourn, but hopefully not too bad. How y'all doing? How y'all living? How y'all doing? You doing good? Hello, Silver Scale. Hello, Deborah McDonald. Hello, Cute Dark Arts. Hello, Mr. Malachite. It's high time we had some better cultural exports. Oh, how was your dump? It was good. If you guys want to know what I was doing, it was not a dump. I gave my partner a back massage because she woke up and her back was hurting, and so I alleviated that, and then we took a quick walk just in the halls of my building, and yeah, it was just nice. And you know, sometimes after streaming for a few hours, I got to stand up and move my body so that, you know, I don't get a blood clot and die. So, yeah, that with that context, it was in fact a fast break. You must stretch and move. I try, and I'm so bad at it, but I'm trying to be better. Please tell me we've started winning. It's okay. Still hitting the elliptical. You know it's Simric. After I finish stream tonight, I'm going to be hitting the elliptical. Gonna be doing it tonight. Gonna be doing it tomorrow. Gonna be doing it Thursday. So, oh, one thing I have to do, I have to actually start my dryer. Be right back. Whew. Thank you all for reminding me about the workout, because if you hadn't, I would have forgotten that my clothes were in the dryer and the dryer had not been started. So that was a close call, because otherwise I would have been left with no clean or non-soggy running duds, and I need those for the elliptical. Hello, all-powerful Kagan. That's okay. It's all good, all-powerful Kagan. And now I have hot clothes for a hot bod. I can't say that with a straight face. I'm sorry.
Actual Jake Love, actual Jake Love, actual Jake Love, actual Jake Love.
Princess Fiona, thank you for the tier 1 sub and for being subscribed for 3 months and for redeeming the Oh Mommy channel point reward. Oh, Mommy. There you go. Nailed it. Need to get in my voice acting reel for all of those hentai games. You know, I need to put it out there. Huh? Oh, that's right. I could read the I for my hentai audition tape. I could just do the dramatic reading of the B movie
Signs were
fanfic I
lame,
wrote.
but apparently GOP rep Lance Gooden of Texas ripped one out of a DM's hand. I feel like the Dems should make a big fuss about that.
Yeah, I mean, the Dems should make a big fuss about everything, but a lot of them aren't going to. Oh, Danny. Deborah McDonald, thank you for the 100 biddies. Yeah, I'll make video game dollars. It's creepy. You're creepy. Let's see here. Yo, Sake Tanuki, thank you for the 5
Reminder
gifted
that
tier
the
1
pink
subs.
costumes and signs were worn to not be used by Jeffries, who thought they were too combative.
Okay, I didn't know that. I was wondering what the pink outfits were. So the signs and pink costumes were less a commentary on Donald Trump and more a commentary on internal Democrat strife. That's interesting. In that regard, in that light, I support them. Cute Dark Arts, I see you've redeemed the Awooga soundbite. Awooga? I mean, it was against it was against Trump, but also, like, if Hakeem Jeffries told them not to do it and they did it anyway, it's also a sign of, rebellion amongst the Democratic ranks against Jeffries. Yeah, the three genders, mommy, daddy, and awooga. You get it. You get it. Yeah, but the thing is, Harold, it's not like a thing can be two things at once. It's just that it's a gesture that's ineffective against Trump, but is effective at signaling rebellion against Jeffries, and that's good. Jeffries needs to get out of the way in order for, like, folks to win. Yeah, definitely would cast you as Teddy's VA if I ever got my OC story shit in gear. Who's Teddy? Yeah, government mandated mommy milkers. Apparently noisemakers were floated as an idea. Man, I don't know. I feel like I came up with better ideas in like 5 seconds of spitballing takes on this show. Just like a few seconds. Yeah, they should have been rude as fuck, but like one at a time in like an orderly fashion to get kicked out and to make it like delayed longer and longer and longer, Some vuvuzelas, yeah. Oh god. Jeffries is the Neville Chamberlain of our day. Honestly, not a bad comparison. All right. Folks, we are going to start
Is through the 90.
Nope, you guys need to earn your Bernie Sanders. All right. Okay. We're gonna start in order of like length of statement. Okay, we're gonna start with the shortest statement, we're gonna end with the longest one. You guys understand how this works. All right. So, folks, the President of the United States, who apparently is still Donald Trump and or Elon Musk, gave a speech that was like 2 hours long, where he jerked himself off all over the American people, and it was disgusting and full of lies. And he also may have incriminated the federal government in court with statements about how Elon Musk is in charge of Doge, something that directly contradicts what the government's lawyers have been arguing in court. So that's actually pretty funny, and in fact has already led to official filings in court. Plaintiffs in one lawsuit against Doge have alerted the court to President Trump's remarks tonight, calling Elon Musk the head of the office. And yeah, that's just that's interesting. And the legal shitstorm that is gonna like roll downhill from that statement alone is going to absolutely destroy the government lawyers who are trying to defend Donald Trump's position, and that's only good for us. So take from that what you will. And of course, in response to Donald Trump's early State of the Union, why is it early? Well, because he just passed the tariffs today and they went into effect, and he wanted to give a speech before people got really, really mad about the tariffs. Because right now, A lot of places are coasting along on the supply that they've already got. Prices aren't going to instantly go up, but they are going to go up pretty soon. So, yeah, it's clear he wanted to do a State of the Union before the actual State of the Union.
So we can put fuel in the engine for the riverboat.
True, Simric. Thank you for the $5 super chat. And we do need more donos and subs in the engine for the riverboat to function. So we're going to take a look at the substance of the speeches and statements put out by the Democrats. And of course, these come in a variety of different forms, but we're going to look at kind of the mainstream Democrat response, which was presented by Alyssa Slotkin. And we're going to check out Senator Bernie Sanders' response. And we're going to check out AOC's response. I feel like that kind of gets us, a good spread of kind of what the two different main factions of the Democrats are actually doing. Okay? So let's take a look.
Hi, everyone. I'm Alyssa Slotkin. I'm honored to have the opportunity to speak tonight. It's late, so I promise to be a lot shorter than what you just watched. I won't take it personally if you've never heard of me. I'm the new senator from the great state of Michigan, where I grew up. I've been in public service my entire life because I happened to be in New York City on 9/11 when the Twin Towers came down. Before the smoke cleared, I knew I wanted to make a life in national security. I was recruited by the CIA and did 3 tours in Iraq alongside the military. In between, I worked at the White House under President Bush and President Obama, 2 very different leaders who both believed that America is exceptional. You can find that same sense of patriotism here in Wyandotte, Michigan, where I'm speaking from tonight. It's a working class town just south of Detroit. President Trump and I both won here in November. It might not seem like it, but plenty of places like this still exist across the United States. Places where people believe that if you work hard and play by the rules, you should do well and your kids should do better. It reminds me of how I grew up. My dad was a lifelong Republican, my mom a lifelong Democrat. But it was never a big deal because we had shared values that were bigger than any one party. We just went through another fraught election season. Americans made it clear that prices are too high and that the government needs to be more responsive to their needs. America wants change, but there's a responsible way to make change and a reckless way.
Oh boy. I love when already at a minute and a half we're conceding ground to our adversaries.
And we can make that change without forgetting who we are as a country and as a democracy. So that's what I'm going to lay out tonight. Because whether you're from Wyandotte or Wichita, most Americans share 3 core beliefs. That the middle class is the...
Whether you're from what in Wichita?
Most Americans share 3 core beliefs. That the middle class is the engine of our country, that strong national security protects us from harm, and that our democracy, no matter how messy, is unparalleled and worth fighting for. Let's start with the economy. Michigan literally invented the middle class, the revolutionary idea that you could work at an auto plant and afford the car you were building. That's the American dream. And in order to expand and protect the middle class, we have to do a...
Man, what a pathetic interpretation of what America dreams of, Like, oh man, you work at a plant and can afford the thing you make at the plant? That's the epitome of the American dream? Are you kidding me? How cheaply they describe our ideals.
A few basic things. We need to bring down the price of things we spend the most money on: groceries, housing, healthcare. We need to make more things in America with good-paying union jobs and bring our supply chains back home from places like China. We need to give American businesses the certainty they need to invest and create the jobs of the future. And we need a tax system that's fair for people who don't happen to make $1 billion. Look, the president talked a big game on the economy.
How? I'm real sorry. How is this the response? How have you managed to find the most tone-deaf, out-of-touch response one could possibly muster to this? This is like it was designed in a lab for being milquetoast. Like, you could have recorded this response at, like, any point in the last, like, 20 years in American politics and, like, just put this out there. Like, it's insane. The Democratic leadership is insane.
But it's always important to read the fine print. So, do his plans actually help Americans get ahead? Not even close. President Trump is trying to deliver an unprecedented giveaway to his billionaire friends. He's on the hunt to find trillions of dollars to pass along to the wealthiest in America.
No, like, don't describe it like this. People don't respond to this language. He's trying, like, just say it bluntly. He's trying to steal from you. He's trying to steal from the elderly and the infirm, people he thinks are targets in our society, to give that money from the elderly, from the infirm, the money keeping them alive, to the richest people to ever exist on the planet. Like, stop sugarcoating this shit.
And to do that, he's going to make you pay in every part of your life. Grocery and home prices are going up, not down, and he hasn't laid out a credible plan to deal with either of those. His tariffs on allies like Canada will raise prices on energy, lumber, and cars, and start a trade war that will hurt manufacturing and farmers. Your premiums and prescriptions will cost more because the math on his proposals doesn't work without going after your health care. Meanwhile, for those keeping score, the national debt is going up, not down. And if he's not careful, he could walk us right into a recession. And one more thing. In order to pay for his plan, he could very well come after your retirement, the Social Security, Medicare, and VA benefits you worked your whole life to earn. The president claims he won't, but Elon Musk just called Social Security the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time. While we're on the subject of Elon Musk, is there anyone in America who is comfortable with him and his gang?
You had time to write this. Like, you have people you pay full time to pay attention to what's happening in the political space, right? Why are you not referencing specific things he's done? Like, specifically that he is slashing the Social Security Administration by like 60%. In order to subvert Congress and destroy its ability to actually, grant, checks to people, the thing it's supposed to do. They're trying to get around Congress by cutting programs in de facto ways. Like, I don't know, like, say the things.
Of 20-year-olds
this is also
using
vague.
their own computer servers to poke through your tax returns, your health information, and your bank accounts. No oversight, no protections against cyber attack, no guardrails on what they do with your private data. We need a more efficient government. You want to cut waste? I'll help you do it. But change doesn't need to be chaotic or make us less safe. The mindless firing of people who work to protect our nuclear weapons, keep our planes from crashing, and conduct the research that finds the cure for cancer, only to rehire them 2 days later? No CEO in America could do that without being summarily fired.
Also, don't even give him the credit. Stop saying like, oh, without rehiring them days later. You don't have to add that, because in a lot of cases they weren't able to rehire these people.
Okay, so we've talked about economic security. How about national security? Let's start with the border. As someone who spent my whole career protecting our homeland, every country deserves to know who and what is coming across its border. Period. Democrats and Republicans should all be for that. But securing the border without actually fixing our broken immigration system is dealing with the symptom and not the disease. America is a nation of immigrants. We need a functional system keyed to the needs of our economy that allows vetted people to come and work here legally. So I look forward to the president's plan.
She does look like discount Katie Britt.
Because here's the thing. Today's world is deeply interconnected. Migration, cyber threats, AI, environmental destruction, terrorism. One nation cannot face these issues alone. We need friends in all corners, and our safety depends on it. President Trump loves to say peace through strength. That's actually a line he stole from Ronald Reagan. But let me tell you, after the spectacle that just took place in the Oval Office last week, Reagan must be rolling in his grave.
I'm so tired. Like, who is this for? Who is this for? Genuine question. Who is this for? Why are you trying to like act like Democrats care about the spirit of Ronald Reagan? Ronald Reagan sucks. Why are you trying to appeal to Republicans? Appeal to your goddamn base. Appeal to like the actual fight. You know, like if Republicans are disaffected from Donald Trump, they will join the resistance against him. We don't have to like massage their egos by pretending we like Ronald Reagan. And I say we, but of course, Democrats like Alyssa Slotkin love Ronald Reagan because, you know, they're conservative Dems. God.
We all want an end to the war in Ukraine, but Reagan understood that true strength required America to combine our military and economic might with moral clarity.
My anger is very high right now. It's honestly shocking to me how tone deaf this is. Dog, what are you doing? Why are you glazing Ronald Reagan in 2025? What possible advantage do you think this gives you anywhere? Even like liberals don't like Ronald Reagan. Oh my God.
And that scene in the Oval Office wasn't just a bad episode of reality TV. It summed up Trump's whole approach to the world. He believes in cozying up to dictators like Vladimir Putin and kicking our friends like the Canadians in the teeth. He sees American leadership as merely a series of real estate transactions. As a Cold War kid, I'm thankful it was Reagan and not Trump in office in the 1980s. Trump would have lost us the Cold War. Donald Trump's actions suggest that in his heart, he doesn't believe we're an exceptional nation. He clearly doesn't think we should lead the world. Look, America is not perfect, but I stand with the majority of Americans who believe we are still exceptional, unparalleled.
The belief in the exceptionality of America is what got us here. The belief that it couldn't happen here, the belief that fascism couldn't happen here, was incorporated into American exceptionalism because we were exceptional in all things, and we were an exception from the tendency towards fascism because our entire thing was that we helped to defeat the Nazis. That belief was wrong. You know, the belief that fascism couldn't happen here turned out not to be wrong. It turned out to be wrong. We have a fascist in office right now.
And I would rather have American leadership over Chinese or Russian leadership any day of the week. Because for generations, America has offered something better. Our security and our prosperity, yes, but our democracy, our very system of government, has been the aspiration of the world. And right now, it's at risk. It's at risk when the president decides you can pick and choose what rules you want to follow, when he ignores court orders and the Constitution itself, or when elected leaders stand by and just let it happen. But it's also at risk when the president pits Americans against each other, when he demonizes those who are different and tells certain people they shouldn't be included. Because America is not just a patch of land between two oceans. We are more than that. Generations have fought and died to secure the fundamental rights that define us. Those rights and the fight for them make us who we are. We're a nation of strivers, risk takers, innovators, and we are never satisfied. That is America's superpower. And look, I've lived and worked in many countries. I've seen democracies flicker out. I've seen what life is like when a government is rigged. You can't open a business without paying off a corrupt official. You can't criticize the guys in charge without getting a knock at the door in the middle of the night. So as much as we need to make our government more responsive to our lives today, don't for one moment fool yourself that democracy isn't precious and worth saving. But how do we actually do that? I know a lot of you have been asking that question. First, don't tune out. It's easy to be exhausted, but America needs you now more than ever. If previous generations had not fought for this democracy, where would we be today? Second, hold your elected officials, including me, accountable. Watch how they're voting. Go to town halls and demand they take action. That's as American as apple pie. Third, organize. Pick just one issue you're passionate about and engage.
You know, all of this has been absolute and total horseshit, but at the very least, this call to action is good to see. This call to action is at least an attempt, however uninspiring, to get people involved in their local political scenes and state level and national level political scenes. You know, like, that's good to see because the Dems need to activate their base. And like, this is one of the ways to do it. It's not cool. They aren't doing it well, but you know, maybe this is something. Maybe maybe it means we can do something with this.
And doom scrolling doesn't count. Join a group that cares about your issue and act. And if you can't find one, start one. Some of the most important movements in our history have come from the bottle up. In closing, we all know that our country is going through something right now. We're not sure what the next day is going to hold, let alone the next decade. But this isn't the first time we've experienced significant and tumultuous change as a country. I'm a student of history, and we've gone through periods of political instability before. And ultimately, we've chosen to keep changing this country for the better. But every single time, we've only gotten through those moments because of two things: engaged citizens and principled leaders. Engaged citizens who do a little bit more than they're used to doing to fight for the things that they care about, and principled leaders who are ready to receive the ball and do something about it. So thank you tonight for caring about your country. Just by watching, you qualify as engaged citizens. And I promise that I and my fellow Democrats will do everything in our power to be the principled leaders that you deserve. Good night, everyone.
Oh, God. You know, this is marginally better than nothing. They keep saying get involved, and it's marginally better than nothing at all. So I do have to hand it to them that that is the case. Everything about that was terrible, but I have to be honest, I wasn't expecting any kind of call to action, and the fact that they incorporated one, as limp and absolutely, you know, uninspiring as it was, exceeded my expectations. But yeah, if you are looking for someone to actually tell you where you can get involved, hey, that's me. You can join your DSA. Join your local DSA chapter. Organize outside of the Democratic Party in order to achieve political goals. Join your local Dems and radicalize them. Preferably join your DSA and your local Dems, then you can influence on the outside and on the inside. You can do both at the same time. Really good idea to do that. You know, radicalize your local Democrats, activate them, get them involved in more, you know, left-leaning and progressive actions. And on top of that, folks, you can join like Tesla Takedown and protest Elon Musk in particular. In total, Elon's lost like over $100 billion as a result of protests. Okay, you can contribute to him losing another like $200 billion. Let's go. All right. Additionally, folks, go join an indivisible protest. They're popping up all across the country. In the past 4 days, 30 new local chapters have opened up in order to organize and demonstrate against Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and the billionaire cronies that are currently trying to control Washington, D.C. Organizing is really important, and I know for a fact that these preliminary stages in organizing, though hard, the more people we mobilize, the more people we have to do mass action. That's the entire name of the game. We want to mobilize locally, and then we want to mobilize into larger and larger groups to do larger and larger protests. You don't grow this out of nowhere, folks. You have to do the work. So please join DSA, your local Dems, your local indivisible protests. If you feel like doing extra, you know, do your Tesla takedown. And also, yeah, join just honestly a group of some kind. It's no longer enough to just sit back, absorb information, and be correct on issues. You have to do something with that information. God, if you have any questions, join the Discord, !Discord. And you can ask GamerG about any related DSA questions, and you can ask Dragonfly in the Discord about any related local Dem questions. If you're having trouble finding your local Dems, not GamerG, Dragonfly can help you. Okay? There you go. I just told you, let's get to work. All right? And folks, we've been going for almost 5 or 4 hours, I think. 5 hours, 4 hours, somewhere in there. If you've been enjoying the show, hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button on the stream, and consider dropping those subs and donos, folks, because this show brought to you by viewers like you. I couldn't make it happen without you fine folks. And you know, we need some oil for the riverboat. The riverboat can't run without the oil. The precious oil. All right. Yes, next we will be looking at Bernie Sanders' speech, which should be much better. You know, we'll see though. You know, who knows? Maybe he'll beef it. Maybe he'll whiff it. Who can say? We earned the burn. I don't know. Did you donate enough to unlock Bernie mode? Can't even say that with a straight face. God. Huh? Right. Pay to unlock Bernie mode. Matt Walsh and Ben Shapiro were in attendance at the State of the Union, which is, yeah, I mean, that's not surprising to me at this point. Bernie is paid DLC. He's the horse armor of this stream. Have you seen the EU opening up the war chest to boost the war machine with 850 billion euros? Yeah, I saw that. It's not great. Deborah McDonald, thank you for the 100 biddies. I appreciate you. Paywall Bernie, what a nightmare.
Oh no, Sam Cedar. Wow, what a fucking nightmare.
Is that multipolarity to you? I mean, look, I'm not like someone who's big on polarity of or whatever, but like, yeah, it's one of the greatest alliance breakups in the history of the planet. It's like a big deal. It's the, collapse of the imperial hegemon, and that's not gonna that typically doesn't go well for like global stability. Just, heads up on that. Yeah, multipolarity, unipolarity, but both seem pretty bad. I don't know. I think maybe we should move beyond the nation states, but y'all aren't ready for that conversation yet. uh, God. All right, you guys ready to feel the burn? I am. Hell yeah. All right. Let's get started. So, folks, in response to Donald Trump giving a sort of State of the Union address, Democrats responded, and that response was limp-wristed and weak and pointless as usual, with a small call to action, which was good, I guess. It's the one good thing you could say about it. And of course, as always, we have one Bernard Sanders, looking at the state of things and going, I guess I'll pick up that ball one more time and get it over that, get it into that touchdown zone one more time, boss. I don't know how sports work. I'm sorry. I think that's how football works. Not sure. Anyway, here is Bernie Sanders.
Is through the concept of the big lie, and boy, did we hear that tonight. You say something that is grossly false.
Hey!
Super secret sneaky crashed out early dono ghost BWA.
BWA Paladin, thank you for the $30 dono to keep that dono ghost away for a little while longer.
Say it over and over again and have right-wing social media blast it out endless times until people actually believe it.
Like, I'm sorry, we're 20 seconds into this, and he's already spoken more sense than Alyssa Slotkin spoke over the course of 10 minutes.
And then, rather than address the real issues facing the American people, the struggles that the American people are facing, we find ourselves wasting endless amounts of time discussing Trump's absurdities. Let me just give you a very few examples. Trump claimed that the 2020 election was stolen from him and that he won by a landslide. Remember that? A lie. Trump claimed that the January 6th insurrection was a day of love. A lie. Trump has claimed that millions of undocumented people voted and do vote in American elections. A lie. Trump has claimed that climate change is a hoax originating in China. A lie. Trump has claimed that Ukraine started the horrific war with Russia. A lie. And tonight, just tonight, Trump claimed that millions of dead people between the ages of 100 and 360, I guess, were collecting Social Security checks. And that is an outrageous lie.
Like, again, a minute 30 in, this is instantly more effective than than Alyssa Slotkin's message. And oh my God, why? Why must Democratic leadership at every turn be so absolutely toothless?
Intended to lay the groundwork for cuts to Social Security and dismantling the most successful and popular government program in history. So let's be clear about that. Well over 99% of Social Security checks are going out to people who earned those checks. 70 million Americans. Nobody who was 150 years old or 200 years old or 300 years old is receiving Social Security checks.
True.
And on on the lies go.
These lies, by the way, are literally conjured by a misunderstanding of COBOL programming language that untrained interns assumed when they saw the data, and then they relayed it to Elon Musk, who then relayed it to Donald Trump. And Donald Trump sits there smugly saying Social Security is compromised, when in reality, the programming language of COBOL just substitutes 1875 for the birth year of anyone who doesn't have birth information input into the system, which is a lot of people, for a wide variety of reasons.
Now, the purpose of all of this lying is not just to push his hateful right-wing ideology. It is not just to try to divide us up. It is more than that. It is a masterful effort, and you saw that tonight, to deflect attention away from the most important issues facing the people of our country. Issues that Trump and his billionaire friends do not want to address because it is not in their financial interests to do so. Trump gave his State of the Union speech tonight. But if you listen closely, that speech had very little to say
I caught where
about
you live, and really don't mind watching him twice. Poop and pee are friends.
What the fuck? Thank you for the $5 dono, One-Eyed Heathen.
the State of the Union, about what is really going on in our country, especially for working families. Trump spoke for over 90 minutes, although I must confess it seemed a lot longer than that, and he almost completely ignored the issues that are keeping working people up at night. as they worry about how their families are going to survive in these very tough times. And I will tell you exactly why Trump had very little to say about the real crises facing the working class of this country. Think back 6 weeks ago when Trump was inaugurated for his second term as president, just 6 weeks ago. Standing right behind him were the three wealthiest men in this country, Mr. Musk, Mr. Bezos, and Mr. Zuckerberg. And standing behind them were 13 other billionaires who Trump had nominated to head major government agencies. Many of these same billionaires, including Musk, were in the Capitol tonight listening to that speech. In other words, it is there for all to see. The Trump administration is not hiding it. The Trump administration is a government of the billionaire class, by the billionaire class, and for the billionaire class. Notwithstanding some of their rhetoric, this is a government that could care less about
So strained, pained. You're hurting it. You're hurting it. The text-to-speech. It didn't even get to the RN. Fox Syndicate, thank you for the $5 dono.
about ordinary Americans and the working families of our country. My friends, we are no longer moving toward oligarchy. We are living in an oligarchic society.
Yeah.
Now let's take a moment and try.
Hey, Chad, is it bad when Bernie Sanders confirms we're living under oligarchy instead of democracy? Is that bad? Could someone refresh me?
To escape from Trump's parallel universe, the universe that you heard
Thanks,
tonight.
Deborah McDonald.
And let's do something really, really radical.
Sounds like it
Let's
might be bad.
actually take a hard look at the problems that Americans are facing. Today, 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Unlike Trump, I grew up in a family that lived paycheck to paycheck, and I know something about that reality. It means that every day, millions of Americans worry about how they're going to pay their rent, pay for childcare, pay for a doctor's visit when they get sick. They worry about what happens when their car breaks down and they can't afford the $1,000 it costs to get it fixed, and what happens when they can't get to work because they don't have a car. They worry about how they can afford to buy healthy food for their kids when the price of food is off the charts. Funny? I heard Trump speaking for 90 minutes tonight. I didn't hear one word from him.
You know, like, this rage needs to be amplified. You know, like, we need to see lawmakers actually upset. We need to see them upset, and we need to see them doing things. We need to see them gumming up the works in real ways. Representative Al Green actually did manage to do something tonight to gum up the works and delay it, and more Democrats who were present should have made a spectacle and a scene of themselves getting thrown out in order to similarly interrupt Donald Trump at every turn. Because, guys, guess what? If you're really angry about where we are with this system, gumming up the works like that is like the least we can ask from our sitting representatives. You know? Like, and I'm going to ask, I'm going to just throw out this idea. Donald Trump is old. He's old. He's weak. He is mentally declined from where he used to be. You know, even 8 years ago, even 4 years ago. And I'm just throwing it out there. The longer you delay it, the less he is capable of coming across like an actual human being. Every 5 minutes you delay a speech like that by getting thrown out for disorderly conduct is 5 minutes that like Donald Trump can't really spare because he has to look like a functional human being.
Feel the urn.
They're saying boo earns, Mr. President. Boo earns. So like I don't know. I this is one of those situations where I feel like, you know, the appearance of meaningless spectacle to like delay the speech could actually have a really positive impact on our struggle against this attempted fascist coup underneath Donald Trump and Elon Musk. I hope that makes sense. It makes sense to me.
About the economic reality facing 60%
Also, Zudo,
of
thank you for
our
the $5 dono.
or the enormous stress that they are living under. 90-minute speech, not one word about the economic reality facing American workers. But that's not all. Today in America, everyone knows that our healthcare system is broken. It is dysfunctional, and it is outrageously expensive. We remain the only wealthy nation on earth not to guarantee health care for all. Mr. President, you really want to make America great again? Then make sure that every American, regardless of income, can go to a doctor or a hospital.
Sunshine, thank you for the $10 super chat. I very much appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah. And Simric, I don't know how much weight to give what your friend told you while working at the Capitol, but like genuinely his age, you know, in order to look strong, right? A president has to stand up there at that podium until they're done with that speech. He wanted to give a 90-minute long speech. Dog, he's going to be standing up there for like an hour and a half minimum. Stretch that out into 3 hours. You know, that sounds like a long time, but if it takes like 5 minutes to expel one member acting up, like that's just, you know, 12 members per hour. Dems have enough people to do that. You know, if he has to like go home and sleep because after wanting to give this address, that is only a victory for Democrats. You know? I'm watching the US dollar index slowly drop in real time, by the way. Fun times, right? Isn't it great?
And not worry about how they're going to pay the bills. President Trump, health care is a human right. I didn't hear one word from you, not one word. Over 90-minute speech, not one word from you about the health care crisis that is impacting many, many millions of our people. Nor did I hear you say why we pay by far the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs, sometimes 10 times more than the people in other countries.
And one thing I always appreciate about Bernie is that he brings it back to what a better version of America could look like. You know, it's a better version of America, one where we don't have people dying over lack of health care. That's possible, man.
Why 1 out of 4 Americans are unable to afford the prescriptions their doctors prescribe. Not one word about the outrageously high cost of prescription drugs. Mr. President, we have nearly 800,000 Americans who are homeless. Over 20 million of our people spend more than half of their limited income on housing. We have a major housing crisis in America. Everyone knows it, apparently, except you, because in your speech tonight, I didn't hear you mention the housing crisis. Today in America, we have more income and wealth inequality than we've ever had. 3 richest people in America, the folks Trump invited to stand behind him at his inauguration, now own more wealth than the bottom half of our society, 170 million Americans. Did anyone out there hear one word from the President of the United States on that enormously important issue, which gets to the very fabric of our society? So few owning so much while so many people suffer. And here's something else the president.
God, Bernie Sanders, what a goddamn king. He gets it, man. His entire ethos summed up in like one sentence.
Seems like a racist, sexist man who is unelectable.
Yeah, all of these racist and sexist things Bernie's been saying, it really justifies the DNC icing him out. It's true. I bet anyone who supports this is also racist and sexist by extension. We should call them Bernie Bros.
Forgot to discuss.
Thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs, Socket Anarchy, and thank you also for dredging up one of the most infuriating periods of DNC insider politics I've ever seen in my lifetime.
Not only is our life expectancy 4 years lower than other wealthy countries, the bottom 50% in this country, the working class of America, on average, live 7 years shorter lives than the top 1%. Got that? In other words, being poor or working class in this country today is a death sentence. Did you hear any discussion tonight as to why so many of our people are living shorter lives than they should? During his speech tonight, Trump did not have one word to say about how we are going to address the planetary crisis of climate change. The last 10 years, as most Americans know, have been the warmest ever recorded, and extreme weather disturbances and natural disasters.
Yeah, there's literally a gigantic fire raging in like Virginia right now, North Carolina, somewhere in there.
Have been taking place all over the world, from California to India, across Europe to North Carolina. And yet, not surprisingly, Trump had nothing to say about climate change except, I guess, drill, baby, drill. Well, that's going to help a whole lot. And let's be clear, not only did Trump fail to talk about some of the most important issues facing the working class of America, but the solutions, in quote, he proposed would only make a bad situation even worse. Yep, I did hear Trump talk tonight about some tax breaks for working families in terms of not taxing tips, not taxing Social Security, and not taxing overtime. Fine. But that is chump change compared to the benefits he's going to give to the 1%, and it doesn't tell the whole story about his tax policies.
You know, we need more politicians that will use phrases like chump change. You know, like when Bernie says it, he sells it. You know, most other politicians can't. You know, and he says it like a guy who's complained about a boss firing him over chump. You know, like a chump change raise or something like that. You know, like he speaks it like he's experienced it.
According to a recent study by the Institute on Taxation and Economic Policy, if all of Trump's so-called America First policies are enacted, including his tariffs, which he spoke a lot about tonight, the bottom 95% of Americans will see their taxes go up, while the richest 5% in our country will see their taxes go down.
God.
Way down.
I genuinely don't know what happens when taxes on most people go up and Medicaid gets cut and Social Security becomes more difficult, if not impossible, to get. I don't know what happens when you combine that with tariffs. Like, I don't really see how anything other than the biggest protests this country has ever seen. That's clearly where it's going to go. And it's just a question of how do those protests play out, I guess, in my mind. And right now it's, you know, not great.
Tonight, in so many words, Trump urged Congress to pass his big, beautiful budget. Do you know what's really in it? This budget would cut Medicare.
But also, like, the whole not taxing tips thing. It's not in the budget proposal. Like, nothing that Donald Trump championed in the speech tonight was actually in, like, the Republican budget. You know?
Medicaid by $880 billion. Oh, I guess Trump forgot to talk about that. $880 billion cut in Medicaid. According to one estimate, it means that up to 36 million Americans, including millions of children, would be thrown off the health insurance they have.
Yeah, also, even if they repealed income tax, your income tax is not going to save you from the increases of goods and services as a result of the tariffs. Like, the income tax being gone isn't going to benefit you, a working class stooge. Hell, it's not even going to benefit you, a middle class stooge, really.
Hey, a 90-minute speech tonight, not one word about throwing millions of kids off of the health insurance they have. When you cut Medicaid drastically, it means that nursing homes that receive 2/3 of their funding from Medicaid will either have to shut down, lay off workers, or significantly scale back the services they provide seniors. Gee, I didn't hear that from Trump tonight either. It would be a devastating blow, these cuts to Medicaid, for the 32 million Americans who get their health care at community health centers. And it's not just Medicaid that Trump's budget would cut. It would also cut nutrition assistance by at least $230 billion. Now, I want you to think about that for a moment. And can you imagine the billionaire class, people who can support their families? Some of these guys have tens of billions of dollars, support their families for the next 10 generations, 50 generations. People who live in incredible opulence. People who own their own jet planes, they own their own private islands, they own their own spaceships, trying to get tax breaks by taking food out of the mouths of low-income kids.
Finally, this should be the fucking message, guys. This right here, this is the core of it. People so rich they own spaceships, stealing food out of the mouths of starving kids. Literally. That's the message. No, Screech, they aren't using tariffs as leverage for anything. They're using tariffs as a way of doing a flat tax. It's to get the revenue to do the tax cuts. That's why there's no other reason to do them. There's no other, like, there's no negotiation happening. There's nothing he is requesting of Canada or Mexico. It's just to fuck us in order to give money to his wealthy friends. That's it.
That truly is disgusting. What we are seeing is the Robin Hood principle in reverse. Taking from the poor and giving to the rich and the very, very rich. And here is something else Trump has been doing. For the past several weeks, he and his good friend Elon Musk, who is up there in the audience tonight, have been throwing hundreds of thousands of federal employees off their jobs. Now, I know some of you are saying, well, that's too bad, but that's the federal government, not me, it's not me, it's just those guys who work for the federal government. But I want you to think about this. Think about it for a moment. If Musk and his friends can arbitrarily throw federal workers out on the street today, what do you think that Musk and his fellow billionaires will be doing tomorrow when artificial intelligence and robotics explode in this country? Do you think they'll give a damn about you and your families? No, they will treat you exactly the way they're treating federal employees today. You will be out on the street as well. But it is not.
Honestly, this is an underrated point that Democrats need to really incorporate. because it plays off of the mythology of and fears of AI. And I got to be honest with you, even if AI wasn't going to actually like kick people out of jobs, even if, robotics wasn't going to kick people out of jobs, etc., like that should still be something we campaign on. It should still be that, because it could potentially do that while also speaking to a real fear that people have. You know? A lot of people are like, "Oh man, I don't want to lose my job to the immigrants," but they want to lose their job to like a computer even less. Like they want to lose their job to an AI algorithm even less. God.
Only absurd domestic policies that we've got to fight. For the first time in our 250-year history, we have a president who is turning his back on democracy and allying us with authoritarianism.
Now, notice how like Bernie Sanders has mainly been focused throughout this on Trump not being trustworthy, on lying to workers, why it matters that he's lying to workers, what we could do if we were actually using these funds, and ultimately why, like how everything that Donald Trump is doing, it adds up to a massive amount of money transferred to his friends, his billionaire, trillionaire friends, who are all, billionaire friends who are all gunning to be the next trillionaire or the first trillionaire. And it's only deeper in that he actually gets to like, more high-minded ideals, like, the idea of defending democracy. And that's very intentional on his part, because primarily, well, when I hear them, thank you for the $20
The good
dono.
news is Al Green's voicemail is full. The bad news is, I can't email him unless I am from Texas. I want to voice my support for his actions tonight. I can't email him unless I live in TX due to the website.
Well, it's good. It's good that you wanted to reach out. Maybe you'll be able to do so
Riverboat
tomorrow.
Jack stream experience. It's late. I should probably go to bed, but my leftist heart is being fired and inspired.
Von Tuck's good. I'm glad you're having a good time with the stream. Let's go. All right. And I just want to say, like, the reason you want to backload talk about the importance of democracy is because a lot of people don't inherently understand the benefit of democracy. There are a lot of people in this country who will just kind of shrug and go, I don't care if we're monarchy or whatever. Like, I just want to make a good living. Like they don't really necessarily understand or care to investigate like the benefits of democracy, especially when they're having a rough time like feeding themselves or their family and keeping shelter over their heads. Like that's difficult and that takes a precedence, right? And I think Bernie understands that, so he speaks to those more important, the lower order, the most base order of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Like he speaks to the most important ones first before he moves on to the higher ones. I think structuring speeches like that is actually really important when you're talking to a wider electorate.
No, we must not abandon the people of Ukraine who were invaded by the Russian dictator Vladimir Putin. We must always stand for democracy, not dictatorship. Let me be very clear. Regardless of where Trump is taking this country, here's what...
Well, like, Delta, who it's true, like, it might be harder in general for an ordinary person to make a good living under a monarchy, but I'll say this, there have been monarchies that had good economies. There have been, countries where like, some or even most people for a while did well under authoritarians. It is possible for people to have, at least hypothetically, a good life under more oppressive systems. It's just that even if that were the case, even if you were to grant that conditions may be good under a king, we should still reject that, you know? Because monarchy is bad. Authoritarianism is bad. It hurts people. It is dependent entirely upon the skills and abilities of one statesman. And that is almost never in the interest of the broad populace at large. You know? What are some examples of that? I mean, like the classic example would be like a Cincinnatus type, the original, like, you know, dictator, like someone who rose as like a, you know, vegetable farmer, assumed dictatorial power, you know, set things right, and then set that power aside. Like that would be kind of one of those examples. Or oh my God. Are you guys really reading what I said as defense of monarchy and autocracy? Are you guys really hearing me say, like, it's possible for an economy to do well under monarchy and autocracy, and you're reading that as an endorsement of monarchy and autocracy because there's the possibility that an economy could do well? Why? Why? The point I'm making is even if the economy was doing better under a monarchy or under an autocracy, monarchy and autocracy would still be bad. But you want to speak to the concerns, the economic concerns of working class people, because that is a fundamental order of like what they care about before they start caring about like higher order things. God. Okay, I'm glad you guys get it. I'm glad we're on the same page. I had to check because sometimes people go off the rails with me.
What I think and what I believe the American people want us to do. They want us to end a corrupt campaign finance system. Well, golly gee, I didn't hear Mr. Trump talk about that tonight. A corrupt campaign finance system which allows a handful of billionaires to buy elections. It is beyond crazy that someone like Elon Musk can contribute over $270 million
to buy the presidency,
Trump elected, and then he gets to run the government. It is absurd that any member of Congress who stands up to Netanyahu's brutal war in Gaza can expect to be opposed by millions of dollars in campaign contributions coming from AIPAC.
Man, Bernie Sanders is such the greatest political figure of my lifetime, you know? Like, dude actually walks the walk and talks the talk. We need more like him. It's, you know, there are potential successors to his mantle, but like they are few in number. And I am so grateful he's still here to be a beacon of hope in these trying times, because honestly, it's like Bernie Sanders, AOC, and like a handful of other people in Congress, and then like my hope entirely is pinned on the mobilizing power of the American people, which is why I'm continuously calling on you guys to get involved with your local Dems to radicalize them, to get involved with your local DSA to radicalize your area, to get involved with your indivisible protests. You can start one of your own or join one in your local area. You know, protest Tesla with Tesla takedown, or to like get involved in some kind of way. There are, we got to do something. Okay, my hope and my you know, whatever prayer I guess exists in me lies in the spirit of the American people to rise against and destroy this threat that has come to our collective doorstep. Okay. Carbon says, "Thank you very much for the raid. Welcome, raiders. Let's finish this up, huh?"
The American people want us to end this disastrous Citizens United Supreme Court decision
Phoebe Cakes.
and move to the
And
public
Brecco.
funding of elections. Democracy is supposed to be about one person, one vote, not billionaires buying the political candidates of their choice.
Hell yeah.
And further, no, we should not be giving tax breaks to billionaires. That's not what we should be doing. We must demand that the wealthiest people in this country.
And Nicholas Alford, then our job is to radicalize the Democratic electorate. The solutions to our problems and the solutions to unfucking our country have never been easy, but such is our task and such is the burden of our times.
Start paying their fair share of taxes. We must raise the federal minimum wage of $7.25 an hour to a living wage of at least $17 an hour. We must make it easier for workers to join trade unions, grow the union movement, and prevent corporations from violating labor laws with impunity by passing the PRO Act, legislation that I will be introducing tomorrow. No, we are not going to cut Social Security.
Not on
Quite
my watch.
the contrary. We must expand Social Security benefits and extend its solvency for the next 75 years by scrapping the cap that allows a billionaire to pay the same amount into Social Security as a truck driver. Too many of our seniors are hurting today for us to be talking about cutting Social Security. Over 20% seniors in this country living on $15,000 a year or less.
I love that Bernie Sanders' attitude is essentially cut Social Security? No, expand it. Lower the retirement age. You deserve to retire earlier with full benefits. You know, I love it. You know, like for every lie Donald Trump tells, we're going to lower the age by 1 year. Pretty soon babies will be on Social Security.
Yes. Further, instead of making massive cuts to Medicaid, we must...
Exactly, Nicholas Alford. Like, that's where I'm at, too. You know, like, fuck, no one's coming to save us. We got to save ourselves.
I just want him to do an airline safety-style announcement. Your nearest union or worker-owned cooperative may be behind you or over the wings.
If you reach to your left, you may find a membership card to the UAW.
Join every other major
Thank you for the 5 gifted tier 1 subs,
guaranteeing health care to all of our people through a Medicare for All single-payer program. We must also take on the greed of the pharmaceutical industry, get them to charge us what they charge other countries, reducing prescription drug prices by 50%. And at a time of a terrible housing crisis in Vermont and in every area of our country, we must build at least 4 million units of low-income and affordable housing, stop corporate landlords from jacking up rent prices, and establish
Godzilla
a cap
Incarnate,
on
thank you for
rent.
watching.
In a competitive global economy, we need the best educated workforce in the world. All of our young people must have the ability to get a higher education by making public colleges, trade schools, and universities tuition-free and canceling student debt. Yes, we can create millions of good-paying jobs by combating climate change and moving our energy system away from fossil fuels and into sustainable energy.
It's incredible what happens when you mix criticism with Trump with like a vision of how things can be better. Because again, it's not enough to criticize Donald Trump. You also need to set forward a path for things to get better than just the status quo. It's not enough to just return things to normal. You have to paint a picture of how things can not just be normal, but also better, you know, improved upon even, you know?
You know, I heard a lot of talk about freedom tonight from Mr. Trump. Well, in a free society, we must absolutely guarantee that it is the women of America who control their own bodies, not the local, state,
Hell yeah,
or federal
let's go.
Now, I know
Gotta love a politician that supports bodily autonomy. You know, it's hot, it's sexy.
Because I've heard from many of you that there are a lot of people out there who are feeling angry
Oh,
and
fuck yeah.
frustrated
Mhm.
at what's going on here in Washington, D.C.
Yep.
And some of you may feel a bit hopeless. So let me say this. At this particular moment in history, despair is not an option. Giving up is not acceptable. And none of us have the privilege of hiding under the covers. The stakes are just too high. Let us never forget, real change only occurs when ordinary people stand up by the millions against oppression and injustice and fight back.
Dude has been telling us the entire time what we have to do, and a lot of people thought it was just like, oh yeah, you know, like a few thousand people here and there. Nah, we need millions of people to stand together in solidarity. You know, it is our job as, you know, the people watching right now. It's our job, not my job, your job, to mobilize those millions. You know, if you can just grab one more person, that can be enough. You can grab 2 more people, that can be enough. Let's go. Because we have the ability, if enough of us show up to any event, to change the world. Flood the mall, flood your state capitals, flood, you know, the you know, if you get arrested for peacefully protesting, flood the jails till they can't arrest you no more. You know, like flood, you know, as Steve Bannon coined the phrase, he said, flood the zone with shit. And that's the tactic of a coward, of a charlatan, and of a fascist. In return, we must flood the zone with love, truth, and solidarity. With people power. And I think that will win the day, you know? I think that ultimately is what we need to do. That's our mission statement. That's what our job is right now. It's to wake up as many people as possible and get them out to protest. And it can be as innocuous, and this is why I wasn't too hard on like the economic blackout, because the point of that economic blackout is not to do real economic damage. That's not what an economic blackout is, at least for these purposes, for its role in this particular moment. Instead, it is an opportunity, a low cost, you know, opportunity for people to exercise their protesting muscles. It is a way to get people comfortable with the idea of protesting, to move them and radicalize them towards, you know, holding up a sign and protesting, going to their local Tesla dealership and protesting, you know, showing up at their state capitol and protesting. And that's what we need to be doing. We need to be onboarding people to these protest events, no matter how small, because in aggregate, they matter. And by going to one small thing, it gets you more comfortable with going with the idea of one big protest. So let's radicalize more people. We need more people showing up at these.
That is the history of the founding of our nation, when brave men and women took on the mighty, invincible British Empire. It is the history of the abolitionist movement, the history of the labor movement, the history of the civil rights movement, the women's movement, the environmental movement, and the gay rights movement. Yes, I know. The oligarchs are enormously powerful. I deal with them every day. I know that. Yes, they have endless amounts of money. Yes, they control our economy, and they own much of the media. They have enormous influence over our political system. But from the bottom of my heart, I am convinced that they can be beaten. If we stand together and not let them divide us up by the color of our skin or where we were born or our religion or the language we speak or our sexual orientation. If we bring our people together around an agenda that works for the many and not just the few, there is nothing in the world that can stop us. We can win. We will win. Let us go forward together. Thank you all very much.
What a goddamn king. What a goddamn king. This response, by the way, has 1.3 million views in the 6 hours it's been uploaded. In return, the Associated Press's live of Alyssa Slotkin delivering the Democrats' speech was viewed, well, let's refresh it to be fair, 34,024 times. I think we know which politician resonates more with the people. You know? And maybe it's unfair that I'm using the Associated Press, but you know, I just think that like maybe the message being viewed and shared around by over 1 million people resonates a bit more than the message shared by just 10,000 people or so, you know? For reference, the Associated Press has 3.6 million subscribers and Bernie Sanders has 816,000 subscribers. So like, should be kind of reversed there. Just saying. It should have been you, Bernie. It should have been you. Oh, God. We're going to keep fighting. It's going to be a long slog and it's going to be a hard battle, but we're going to keep fighting. We're going to keep organizing. We're going to keep growing. We're going to keep snowballing this rage and anger into something that will crush the fascists in Washington. And that I know to be true. That's just facts. And I hope you'll all join me in that endeavor. And folks, I think I gotta be done. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. All right. God. I think at the heart of it, independents are frustrated with the status quo. I mean, I think Democrats and independents are frustrated with the status quo. It's just Democratic politicians seem to be very in love with it. With the pretty blatant attempts for oligarchs to cause another recession, do you think people are more likely to stop being passive and go after them? Economic instability hurts. I mean, I think it's much more likely after people start feeling the pain that's more likely. Largely because a lot of people don't pay attention to politics. If you're watching this stream, you're one of the people who actually pays attention to politics to a degree most people don't. You know, most people don't watch the evening news. Most people don't read newspapers. Most people don't read, magazines about politics. And most people certainly aren't watching like live streams about politics, and that's a small number of people who actually are keyed into this stuff. And so for a lot of people, the majority of people in this country, they will only start looking into it and taking notice when they finally start getting screwed over when they go to buy something that they knew was previously cheap and is suddenly 100% more expensive. You know, suddenly doubled in price, suddenly 50% more expensive, you know, or they'll only start looking into it when they realize, you know, that their mom is losing Social Security. Their dad is, you know, unable to afford life-saving medication. Their brother can't get their new prosthetic because Medicaid got cut. You know, for a lot of people, they're not going to notice until suddenly they feel the pain. And that's really, really fucking unfortunate, you know? That's great, Amber Brains. And I'm not saying no one watches live streams. I'm just saying, like, you know, there are 300 million people in this country, and most people who are living and working every day aren't then spending their free time watching politics or reading politics, you know? God. One of my friends is a Trump conservative, 3 years my junior, gets very avoidant about any political discussion. If he does discuss it, he's very defensive. Yeah, he's going to look real fucking stupid in about, 2 months, you know? God, so many people are going to be so fucking embarrassed they supported that clown. Well, folks, if you've been enjoying the stream, hit that follow button on Twitch, hit that subscribe button on YouTube, like the goddamn YouTube stream. I've been looking at the numbers. I know that we have like 250 people watching right now, and we only have 145 likes. I think you can hit 150 in the next like couple minutes. I believe in you guys. And folks, I will be seeing you later today. You know, because it's late. Get it? And also, I'll be streaming tonight. So don't go anywhere. Drink again. That thing is huge. I fucking love this. I am the kind of person who forgets to drink enough water. So my solution is I just got an obnoxiously large cup. And then I always have water. Where'd you get it? I think my partner found it for me. Yes. I don't remember where this happened. I don't know. It's really big and heavy.
Maybe I have.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Maybe I got it because Garfield.
Oh yeah, you might have given it to me to replace my childhood Garfield cups that you informed me were full of lead.
I actually didn't know yet.
Oh, did chat?
I was over here, but
chat saved me from lead poisoning? That's amazing.
I think we're sipping out of it. Someone was like, "Oh my gosh, that cup has lead," and you're like, "Yeah, I'm."
Well, chat, thank.
Googled it and found that
Yeah, chat, thank you for saving me from the McDonald's Garfield glass cups that were colored with lead paint. Jesus Christ. Oh, someone in chat said to let you know that they were really excited about Imogen Olivia gender euphoric lingerie. And yeah, they're real excited that you got it. You did the thing today. Yeah. Yes, my partner will come on stream sometime soon to talk about it. And what it is and what makes it so cool. And to correct any misinformation that I accidentally share with you guys about design and stuff, because that's not my wheelhouse. Yeah, the Batman Forever and the Flintstone mugs also. I think some of the Batman Forever ones, not all of them, but yeah. Well, folks, I'm gonna go to sleep. Good night.
Would you have freedom from wage slavery and join in the grand industrial band? Would you from misery and hunger be free and come do your share like a man?
There is power in the band of working men when they stand hand in hand. That's the power that must rule in every land, one industrial union grand.
Would you have sharings the gold in the sky and live in a shack away in the back? Would you have wings up in heaven to fly and starve here with rags on your back?
There is power in the band of working men when they stand hand in hand. That's the power that must rule in every land, one industrial union land.
If you've had enough of the blood of the lamb, then join in the grand industrial band. If for a change you would have eggs and ham, come do your share like a man.
There is power in the band of working men when they stand hand in hand. That's the power that must rule in every land, one industrial union band.
Well, if you like sluggers to beat off your head, then don't organize or unions despise. If you are nothing before you are dead, shake hands with your boss and the wise.
There is power in the band of working men when they stand hand in hand. That's the power that must rule in every land, one industrial union band.
Oh, come, O ye workers from every land, join in the grand industrial band. Then we our share of this earth shall demand. Come do your part like a man.
There is power in the band of working men when they stand hand in hand. That's the power that must rule in every land, one industrial union band.
Would you take contently what's put in your hand, less than you earn with one leg to stand? Would you believe what they tell you to be, or with brothers go out to sea?
There is power in the band of working men when they stand hand in hand. That's the power that must rule every land, one industrial union band. There is power in this band of working men when they stand hand in hand. That's the power that must rule